They say in some region of places on the earth, if you look on the stars, you can see a fox, and no one can explain or understand it. I can explain or understand. It is the Starfox. He is like a shooting star but inside of a spaceplane plane called an R-wing, and he flies around with his friends going on crazy adventure. This account is of one such adventure. Fox, you look hungry. You should have food, said Sloppy the frog, one of his best friend but kind of annoying, and he told Slippy, you are right. I haven't eaten in days. I heard you have no eating in days, Fox, said Peppy. I was listening to your conversation around the corner when I was coming to find Flaco. Falco has owed me money and I can't afford to get bananas out the banana machine because he has not given me my money back already. Bananas? Do you mean carrots? You are a rabbit, not a Guatemalan, said Fox, who did not understand. Peppy told Fox in response, no. Shortly after, Falcon went running fast with his arms behind him to the vending machine by where Fox, Peppy and Slippy are standing. I heard that you are looking for your money, Peppo, and have got it for you. I am sorry I was not able to have it for you until now. I was poor too, which is why I borrowed it, and had to do a job and kill some people to get this dough for you. Thank goodness, said Peppy in an old voice, like his vocal cords are decaying because it's banana time. Falcon looked at him funny and said nothing, and neither did Fox or Silp to him. They were getting ready for a mission to save a planet that was under danger of being harmed, and everyone but Peppy, who is the most experienced with such situation, was very scared. I am going to sleep for preparation of the job, Peppy said. What job? Slippy said, and then Falco slapped him on the face for being an idiot. The Earth job, you doof. Oh, that one, said Slippy. He remembered. Peppa's right, we should get rest. We will be arriving in Earth tomorrow. Do what you want, Foxboy, but I am going to do karaoke in the mesh hall. That is where they had the karaoke machine, and Falco liked it a lot because when he was under stress he would sing like a bird and feel better. He was under a stress on this evening because the mission on Earth they would be dealing with a new enemy, who is No and Ross. Fox called Falco a faggot and then went to bed. Slippy slept in the hall closet because there weren't enough rooms on the Corneria and they liked him less. On their arrival to Earth, they were greeted by Star Wolf, who arrived there before them, and he was very nice. He said, I expected you to come and you have, and Fox said, what are you doing here, what are your plans, and Wolf said to him, I want to apologize for being mean, and causing so much trouble. We have a lot alike, and I want you to know that. My team is dead. I have given up. How did your team die? Asked WLF, and Wold told him, I killed them because they were bad, and I wanted to be good. That means you should believe me when I say I am a good guy now, and I will help you. Why are you here? Fox looked pleased, and he said, we are friends. Then he said, there is a plan with someone on this planet to do despicable things. I and my team have to stop him. What is the things? Wolf asked him, and the Starfox said, I don't know. Slippy yelled, we will find out, and Falco looked like an asshole and Peppy lit his tobacco. Sounds like a plan, said the Star Wolf, and they were off. They arrived in the middle of a jungle and Slippy said, what are we doing here? And Fox and Wolf said at the same time, we are lost, and they looked at each other, holding a glance before nervously looking away. Falco saw that and thought to himself that he is cooler than Wolf. When Fox went to say we need to find a way out of here, Falco tried to follow and say it too at the same time but looked stupid, and embarrassed himself. He looked at Wolf and Star Wolf smiled at him with big negative feelings going through Falco, and he stayed away back from Rest as they walked. Wolf said, we should go this way, to which Peppy said, the brush is thick, we cannot see where we are going, but Fox said, Wolf is right, and then he looked at Wolf, who looked back. They started going through the thick and then everyone fell off of a big cliff and landed on the ground 100 feet below next to a waterfall. Everyone fell but Falco, because he was far behind enough to know not to go there because the rest of them fell. When Fox landed on his back, Star Wolf landed on top of him. Everyone laid motionless for a minute because they hurt, but then Wolf lifted his head up and he met Starfox's eyes, that twinkled. The moment was very brief, but he held himself above Starfox looking into each other's eyes and their noses almost touching, before pushing himself off and saying that was quite a fall. "You okay guys?" And as Peppy and Slippy said yes, Fox sat up, and looked at the wall of the cliff, and felt a weird tingle in his stomach. Fox said, "Is everyone okay?" And Slippy said, "We just said we are okay," and he said, "Good." Peppy asked, "Where is Falco?" And they looked up and saw Falco looking down, at where Fox and Wolf had landed, remembering seeing Wolf on top of him. "You're a bunch of idiots," Falco said. He was feeling a little angry for some reason. But he is a bird, so he flapped his wings and flew to the side of the waterfall to the rest of the team. Peppy took out a banana and started peeling the banana. Suddenly he was shot in the head. "Oh no, Peppa!" Fox and Slippy and Falcon screamed. Peppy appeared to be dying. There was a big peanut floating with him in the water where he fell, and floated face down, where he was drowning, but everyone was too shocked to help him. Diddy Kong jumped out of the trees and asked them who wants some, and everyone took their guns out. "Don't funk with my bananas," Diddy said, and he started to dance and there was a disco ball, but Slippy said that was Peppy bananas, he brought it from space. Diddley Kong said oh and he apologized, then he went to help Peppy out of the water but he was already dead. They frowned and gave him a water burial by leaving him there in the river and went off into the forest to Diddy's house. "I have lived here my whole life," Diddy said, to which the Starfox team and Wolf said oh. They climbed up a tree, which was draped with ribbons of light cast from the sunlit canopy, and up to Diddy Kong's house. "This is where my house is," he said. "What a good home. I may came in," said Wolf, and Diddy said okay. There Diddy introduced Fox and Wolf and Slopu to his friend from space, Gaku. Gaku was a little boy and he would have sparring matches with Diddle and they would fight together. He's part human and part Kong, as you can see by his human body and Kong tail. Everyone nodded. "I have a Kong tail," said Gaku, who likes the word Kong. "Have you heard what has happened in a remote city on the other side of the world?" asked Diddy Kong. Star. Wolf and Fox and Slippy and Falcon said no. "We are from space." Diddy Kong turned on his TV, which is made of bamboo and powered by key, and put it on channel 00, which is the RNC, remote news channel. It was a newsman and woman who were naked because it was a different part of the world where that is okay, and they were standing under umbrellas at Dr. Light's robot castle, which is a robot, and she said that he has not been home in weeks. The castle was visibly upset without its master's presence, so it got up and left. After watching the program, Fox said to Diddy, "What the fuck was that?" To which Diddy said, "The good doctor has been missing and we do not know where to. Could this have to do with Tay mission?" Wolf said. Falco sternly said from a dark corner behind everyone else, "Yes." Diddy Kong and Starfox and Wolf and Slippy and Falco went out of the treehouse and onto the jungle floor. "We will find out what are causing this feelings of unrest amongst us," Diddy said. He seemed to be the new leader, even though he just shot Prppy in the head and watched him die in the water, but so did everyone else. Gaku was talking about how he is so hungry he will eat the very next animal he sees, and everyone else but Diddy Kong said that too, because Diddy had brought bananas, but only for him. Slippy said, "I would like a lot to have a big pizza, are there pizza out here?" And Falcon put his face in his feather hands like, "Ugh Sloppy, you are part retard," and suddenly Wolf yells out, startling everyone, "Watch out in front of you. It is a snake." And Gaku says, "Where? Let's eat it." But Fox says, "That is no snake, that is Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid." And in front of them there was Solid Snake crawling across the jungle floor on a mission. Diddy says to Hi, "Hey Snake, where are you going?" And then Snake hears a loud noise and a big exclamation point appears above his head, but Wolf says it is okay that we have discovered you here on the jungle, there is no need for this, and he takes the exclamation point from over Snake's head and puts it in a bag that he is carrying with him. I was afraid that you are someone else, Snake said, and Slippy said, who were you afraid we are? And Snake answered, the bad guys, to which Fox says, we are. Snake gets scared and shouts, the bad guys. And Fox clarifies, no, someone else. Snake is relieved, and decides to be friends with them, and now they have a big party, not a celebration. There is Starfox, Star Wolf, Falcon, Slippy the Frog, Diddly Kong, and the Solid Snake. They are walking on the jungle path and Silp says, I will see what is way up ahead so that you guys can know before you get there. And Fox goes, why? But Slippy was already running and stepped on a bomb and exploded into smithereens. Oh no. My friend. Fox said, and Wolf slowly stepped to his side from behind him, with his hand on his waist, and pulled Fox in for a hug to say, I am sorry about your friend the frog, it was just not a good time I suppose. Fox said, I have lost 2 of my best friends, and now I only have one, and he went to look at Falco behind but he was nowhere to be seen. Everyone turned around and thought that he wasn't seen, and they called for him. Falco listened to their calls from atop the moist, light-littered canopies where he sits with his head on his bird knees and didn't listen to them and didn't want to come down or say where he is. When Falco did not come they said together, we will go now, and they did. Diddle said, we are a team now, and we need a team name. Snake said to them, from this day forward, we are Metal Dragon Star Kong. The other MDSK members thought it sounded cool, so they said that, cool Solid Snake, that's what we're called now. They walked, and Gaku was wondering why was there a bomb in Tame Idol of a Jungle Path, as he is holding Slippy's arm and wiggling it. I don't know, I was wondering that myself, Snake said, then looked back and saw they all walked ahead of Fox and Wolf, where were far behind them where they couldn't hear what they were saying. They cannot hear what we are saying, Snake said, do they know we're MDSK now? They will, said Diddly Kong, and Gaku laughed and said, I like that name. They came to a big moss-covered mountain covered in trees and moss, and the jungle floor was still darkish because it was covered by so many trees with mostly just beams of light shooting all over the place enough to see where they were going. Wolf and Fox were caught back up, and Fox said, we need to get inside that mountain. How do you propose we do that, genius? Falco said. And then Fox said, I am not a smart man. Snake said that he has a plan to fool the mountain to get inside if it will work, but they all have to run away. They ran and his behind the mountain, and then Snake put on his box. In the box he crept up to the mountain, and since it knew there were no people there not seeing Snake inside the box, it opened, and Snake entered, and pressed the button to make the mountain stay open to the rest may enter. We are in the mountain now, Snake said. What do we do? Well, answered Snake, we close the door so no person can see we have come into here, and he pressed a button and the mountain closed. It is dark now. Wolf tapped Diddy on the shoulder and thinking it was Solid Snake, and said, hey buddy, it's dark now. Diddy Kong got startled and kicked Wolf right between his legs on his nutsack, and then he screamed. Snake said, I know. I have a cool attack, said Fox, where a blue hexagon appears around me and it makes light. To which Wolf says, cool, maybe you can teach me sometime, he smiles. He makes the blue light and sees now they are certainly in the mountain. Diddy Kong says there is a ladder, and point to it, and everyone sees. When they get to the top of the ladder they find something crazy. It is a small room made of rocks, because they are in a mountain, and glowing stones in the wall that illuminate it. There are mushrooms and a turtle shell and a bed with a blanket with a picture of a star on it. This is weird, says Gaku, it looks like somebody lives here. Who would live inside of a secret mountain house? Asked Solid Snake. Wolf said, I don't know, and then Fox saw a door, and he said, look, there is a door. I am going to go see what's in there, and Wolf is going to come with me. You guys stay out here and wait to see if anyone comes home. Fox opens the door and enters into a dark room, followed by Wolf, who closes the door. I wonder what they'll find in there, says Gaku, yawning. The dark makes me sleepy. I am going to take a nap on this bed. I don't know if that is a good idea. Maybe we should get the others and leave, said Snake. What if the owner comes home and he is a bad guy, and we will have to fight him? Gaku yawns again, pulling the comfortable fleece blanket up to his chin while stretching his arms. That won't happen. Snake ambles the room, admiring the strange luminous stones speckling the walls and ceiling, then hears a loud bang in the room Wolf and Fox were in. He heard a bunch of them, and it sounded like one of them was hurt, and kept getting hurt. It must be really dark in there. I hope they're okay, he said. Suddenly, he heard Tay's sound of a goofy voice talking up the ladder, and he got scared. Oh no, it's the homeowner. He is coming to own his home, Snake thought, and promptly pulled the box over his head. Someone was coming up a ladder. A green hat reared above the precipice, and followed by a big wiener nose and an 80s or 70s mustache, followed by the rest of his body. He looked at his bed and said, why is there a little boy in my bed? And Snake heard him, scared. The man took off his backpack and put it on top of the box, and it was weird and had a hose on it. There seems to be a vacuum cleaner inside, though, Snake. He must be a housekeeper. The man tapped Gaku on his head until Gaku woke up and looked the man in his eyeball and said, hello, do you live here? The man said, yes, this is my house. I am Luigi, the Ghost Master. Gaku looked interestingly. The GHST Master? How do you master ghosts? Luigi said, with my newest model of my favorite vacuum cleaner, the Poltergust 1 billion, which can suck up any ghost in the universe, even a really big one. The sure is something. It is nice to meet you, Luigi, the Ghost Master. Gaku said, but Luigi said, it is okay, you can just call me Ghost Master. Then Gaku said, my friends are here too. The Solid Snake is under that box. Ghost Master turned, but there was no longer a box. The box was gone. It was just Solid Snake holding the Poltergust 1 billion, and he handed it to the Ghost Master Luigi. Then Luigi heard bumping in the room adjacent. What the? Do you have more friends in here? Diddy Kong said, we are the Metal Dragon Star Kong, and the rest of us are in that room right there. It sounds like they cannot see and falling all over the place. Why would that be? That is Tay bathroom. It must be so dark that they can't find the door again and keeps bumping their head. Luigi knocked on the door, and said, it saw me, come out of the bathroom, I have a lot to unload. I have been ghost hunting for 3 weeks and I have not used a toilet since I left. Luigi tried the handle and the door was unlocked. He opened the door and turned on a light, and there were Fox and Wolf standing rigid and funny looking and facing the door. Pu, it smells funky in here. I need to unclog that toilet. Fox and Wolf left the room and Luigi lifted the toilet seat, and it was filled up to the top with turds. For the next 10 minutes he shoveled it into buckets and dumped it off the entrance to his cave house. When he was done he went and sat by Snake on the floor and they started talking. We're on an adventure, Gaku said. A adventure? I just came from one. I have a feel it is not yet far from over, though. Donkey Kong told him, I get feelings too. Solid Snake said, Ghost Master, what was your mission? Antique Ghost Master said, he got wind of bad plans by the wicked Eggman and Dr. Willy to nail Sonic the Hedgehog and the Mega Man, and I went over to Mr. Robotnik's house and hid in his cabinet, but it turned out it was really Tay Castle of King Cruel all along, and Sonic and the Mega Man were nailed to Tay walls by the bad doctor and Eggmaster's robot god Nail Man, and then the Donkey Kong came in with a bomb and killed Tay whole room, and he killed his mouth. Diddy Kong stared speechlessly like he himself had just got exploded by a bomb. The Donkey Kong. He teared, And Gaku said, huh? Do you cow that guy? Your names sound familiar. And Diddy Kong said yes. Well, I knew him. You mean since he's dead? Asked Ghost Laster Luigi, and Diddy said no, you see, we used to be best friend, and we had a falling out. He was hitting the rocks again and he grabbed me by the fur and he threw at the door and I fell out, 300 feet. I told him that sugar makes him too hyper that he should stick with his bananas, but he secretly made rock candy when I was out harvesting peanuts and he was so crazy that I left that tree house and made one of my own. I haven't seen him in 4 months. I guess a lot has happened in that time, and now he is gone. I loved that ape. Diddy Kong was in tears, and Luigi said well now he is dead and Diddy wept gently against Fox and Wolf pet his back. Luigi Ghostman said he is dead, but not gone. What do you mean equals? Asked Diddle who stopped crying. They have all died, but remember I was hiding in the cabinet. When King Cruel died after my dad cut off his head and flew away, I came in with my poltergust 1 billion and soused up all their ghosts. Wow, everyone said, that is cool. I got a more than that Luigi said, I brought their bodies. They are all at the bottom of the ladder. I am going to look for my friend who lives deep in the jungle who can help me put the ghosts back inside their bodies and I will have a legion. Everyone looked at him blankly. The Ghost Master Legion of undead friends and enemies will help us fight the biggest threat this planet will ever has seen. Did you hear that the good doctor's robot castle is on the move? I have heard reports it is coming this way. It seems you have landed yourself smack dap in danger my friends, but NW we can join forces to defeat it. It is why we have come, Fox said. We have come all the way from outer space to stop this Earth from getting destroyed. And when we find out what is threatening it, we will all kill it together. The Ghost Master said let's go out of the house and into the cave, and opened the door and swept his arm as if to say you go out first okay, and then they went down the ladder. When they got to the bottom they were standing on all the corpses of their friends and enemies and they were covered turds from the toilet buckets. Fox said wow, to which Gaku said holy cow, all of these guys are dead. Why are they at your house? Luigi said nothing and looked at him with a mean face like this doofus kid doesn't he listen to anything? So Luigi goes back up the ladder to get his poltergust 1 billion and when he comes back down, he realizes he don't need it so he brings it back up to the house and when he comes to the bottom again he slips on King K. Rool head and falls on the ground. When he gets up, he presses buttons on a remote controller to make the mountain open, and they leave the mountain. I am going to invite one of my best friends to come to and put these ghosts back in their bodies, said Luigi, who seemed to be the new team leader. Are you our new leader Ghost Master? Gaku says to Luigi and Luigi says it is best not to pose questions like that to me. It makes me uncomfortable. WHP is your best friend? Wolf asked, and Luigi said you will see. They started to walk into the jungle and no one cared where Flaco was. When they got in the jungle Snake said how far is your friend's house, and Luigi said to him it is far. They all kept walking for a long time and climbing through bushes and at one point Diddley Kong climbed up a tree to see where they were, and he could tell they were still in the jungle. It was long house before they got to where they are going, and they saw big rocks with moss on them and torches with fire on top. I feel like we are almost there Fox said and the Ghostman said, we have been there. They come to a house made of wood with no bark and stones and are knocking at the door from outside where there are torches. Hello, are you home? It is the Ghost Man, and I have come to bring you home today. Luigi was at the door and FX and Wolf and Solid Snake and Gaku and Diddy Kong were behind him waiting, and someone was standing behind them watching them at the door. Maybe he is not home. We should go look for him Gaku said, but Luigi said no. One the and they all heard a voice coming from behind them that said hello it is I, Crash the Bandicoot. They turned around and saw Crash standing there wanting to go in his house, but everyone was in the way. "That guy is orange," said Gaku, and everyone ignored him because they can see he is orange, he is right in front of them. "Crash, I have come to show you how to get to my house so you can put the ghosts I found back in the dead bodies I brought with me." Crash looked around with his big eyeball and smiled crazy. He said okay, and there was a tiki man, and Diddy said, "What is the name of your tiki man?" And Crash said, "That is Aku Aku, my Horocrux," and Evrine went and he said, "We have come from the islands where I am from because they have fallen into the ocean and I cannot breathe underwater. I have brought fruit though. A wumpa fruit to anyone?" And Gaku said, "Boy, am I hungry, I'll take a umpa fruit," and Crash Bandicoot gave him one. Then Luigi said, "Let's go home," and they all went back through the jungle to Luigi's cave house in the mountain. When they got there, he said to Crash Bandicoot, "This is my mountain, Luigi Jungle Mountain, where I live inside. Open for the Ghost Master." Luigi said, and it opened, and they went in and left it open to see with the little light allowed by the dense embowelments. "That is a lot of bodies," says Crash, and Luigi goes, "I know." He runs through the bodies and the stuff on them up the ladder and grabs the Poltergust 1 billion and comes down and says, "It is time now the dead bodies to be ruined with their ghosts." They all take a body, and Fox says, "Why, that is Slippy the Frog," when he looked in a bag and found his pieces. "Yes, he was all over the road and I found his ghost and caught it." "And that is Peppy," said Wolf, and Luigi, being a ghost master, said, "I know." They went outside the cave in the jungle and Crash said, "Make the dead bodies a circle around my live one," and they took Slipio and Petty and Sonica Hedgehog and the Mega Man and the Eggman and Mr. Willy and KNG Cruel and put them in a circle around Crash Bandicoot. Aku Aku made a gibberish jungle sound and they lit torches, and Crash said, "Unleash the ghosts," and Luigi turned the Poltergust 1 billion on backwards mode and all of them came out as Crash was saying, "Sonic, go to your body," and Mega Man, "Go to your body," and Eggman, "Go to you body," and they were all going back to their bodies. Where they got in the bodies, they stood up and Fox looked disturbed and so did Wold, and Gaku was looking scared, but Diddy Kong was eating on his banana. Luigi smiled and took out a crown from his pocket and put it on his head and said to them, "I am King Luigi, Ghost Master of this jungle." Gaku said, "I didn't know you are a king, and neither did anyone else." Luigi said, "Hail me, my legion," and they all hailed him, and their decrepit bodies were trembling and morbid and no one was talking and they were all covered in shit. "Now we will prepare to fight the boss enemy. Come inside everyone and I will give you weapons," and they all went inside and Luigi gave them swords that he got from his friend Marth, who was in the hospital, so he said, "You can borrow all of my swords," and Fox and Wolf and Diddy didn't need weapons because they have guns, and Gaku had his key attacks and the Kamehameha.